in the last two classes, I discussed the different parts of an EDI 837 file, how an EDI 837 file is structured. Okay, you being a business analyst would need to know how the file is structured. What are the different parts of the file? And because the thing is, when any upgrade needs to be done to these files, you will be running the show for upgrading the file or making any changes to the file. Okay, that's what you'll be doing. Sure. Besides that, there will be a lot of troubleshooting. I don't want to use the word opportunities, but troubleshooting responsibilities which will be given to you. If any file fails for any specific reason based on the error code, your job will be to troubleshoot that error. So for those kind of purposes, or for those kind of situations, a business analyst in the healthcare industry needs to know how to read and understand an EDI structure file, or sorry, EDI transactional file. And as I said, 837 is the most complicated. If you know 837, we also discuss 834. Padna says, are you recording the session? Yes, I am. Yes. So 837 is the most complicated. And when we discuss 834, that was nothing. It was barely enrollment. But don't get me wrong, 834 again is a very important file. You have no idea the kind of challenges people or these companies face just to enroll these members into their system. Now, you must be wondering that, creating an 834 file using whatever software and sending and loading in the system, how hard could it be? Well, it's not hard. Technically, it's not hard, but things go wrong. Things definitely go wrong. And when they do, they need somebody like you, the BA, who can go in and look around, do some due diligence, and find out why these files are failing and what's going on. There are lots of eligibility related issues, lots of claim related issues, which you will come across. And that could be, remember this word I said, that could be your responsibility as a PA. Depends, if you are getting a job pertaining to that particular area or not. Now, so today what we are going to discuss is the actual life cycle of a claim processing. We all know the claim is, how the claim is initiated. When I, as a patient, walk into my doctor's clinic, he diagnoses a problem. He finds out that I have a medical problem, sure. Then he prescribes a medication, conducts maybe a couple of tests. Sure, that's his job. Then what else? He would just input all that information in his computer. Of course, that computer or that tablet, whatever he's using, is connected to the hospital's network. That information, once received by the billing department. Whose billing department? The hospital, the provider's billing department. Or it can be a clearinghouse receiving that information from a small doctor's clinic. They have the infrastructure, they have the software. When they receive that information, they create an EDI file. Send out a batch at a specific time. Many times, or rather most of the times, I have seen files coming in around midnight for that particular business day. And batch closes at, let's say, all the claims up to 8 p.m. in the evening for that particular day are put together, put in a batch, and the file goes out like, let's say, 11 p.m. I'm just giving you an example, okay? Believe it or not, a lot of people like to ask these kind of questions too. In EDI 837 batch, okay, what time do you send the file? Well, it's a very irrelevant question, but many people do. They just do. So it is what it is. Timing is not important, by the way. But anyways, file goes, the batch goes out. From where? The hospital or the provider. Who receives it? the payer, the insurance company. They receive it. When they receive it, so the claim comes in, what do? Let me open the claim from yesterday. Excuse me. So this is the claim. The claim comes in where? The insurance company. They receive it. Vanna says, can you please give an example of a clearinghouse? Is clearinghouse a separate company? Yes, it is. Yes. I think I discussed the concept of a clearinghouse the other day. So these are third-party companies. Okay. Yes, it is a separate company. So let me elaborate a little bit. Big hospitals like Kaiser or Mayo Clinic, they have the IT infrastructure, they have the IT staff to prepare EDI claims and send it, right? They do. But the small clinics, the small doctors' clinics, where there are only 1 or 2 doctors, they don't have the infrastructure. They're not going to keep up with ICD 9-10. They're not going to keep up with EDI transaction upgrade. They're not going to keep up with anything. So who's going to do all this? They collect data on a paper form, a specific form, which I discussed the other day. I'll send you that copy. They collect the data in a paper form for the patient, and that paper form goes to a clearinghouse. Clearinghouse is a third party, independent third party, which receives all these paper forms from doctors, and they prepare the EDI transaction, send it to the insurance company, get the response, get the money, and then they pay the doctors. And clearinghouses get a small particular fee, like $3 a claim, or whatever amount per claim. So these are third-party entities which manage the IT work or claim processing work on the behalf of doctors. Now you want an example of a clearinghouse, Ingenex. I worked for Ingenex. Ingenex was a clearinghouse. There are many of them. Almost every other healthcare company has opened a new clearinghouse. Look up. Ingenex is a good example. There are many of them now. ENS Health is another one. By the way, ENS Health was a clearinghouse, and then they got acquired by Ingenex, and then they became one company, and so on. One says Ingenex. Oh no, so I'm sorry. Let me write this down. Ingenex. I just wrote this in the chat box. Anyways, does it answer your question? Okay, great. So, look at this process flow diagram. You know, the 2 boxes in olive color, olivish or whatever color it is. This is the provider sending the claim via EDI paper or web portal. You know, many companies, it's not a very usual practice, but I have seen some situations where people create an EDI file, let's say, using their billing software. It creates a text file, .txt. I hope you remember all this. So they create a .txt file, and they upload that text file on the website, on a web portal of the insurance company. Manually they upload it daily. That used to be an old practice. Okay, that used to be an old practice. Don't get me wrong. A doctor or a hospital is still allowed to send a paper claim to the insurance company. They can. It just takes forever to get reimbursed. So nobody wants to get into it. Let me give you an example. I had to apply for driver license. I have the option of getting a form from the DMV, filling it up, and then mailing it. Mailing will take 2-3 days. Then they will receive it. Somebody will open it. They will put all the information in their system. Putting all that time together, it will take more than 5, 6, 7, 8 days. What is better? That option or going to the DMV website and just applying it online. By applying it online, I am putting information in their system almost immediately. You see the difference? I can. There are some people, especially old people, and don't get me wrong, I mean, no judgments here, but there are lots of old people who still are not very good with computers. They are in the habit of filling out the form manually and putting in the mail and then mailing it. But that it takes additional maybe 1 or 2 weeks. That option is not the good option, and you have to pay for postage stamps. That's another 58 cents probably. Why not just do it online? It's cheaper and it's faster. You save 2 weeks just by doing it online. So that's what I'm trying to tell you here. Providers are allowed to send paper claims. I don't know as of today. I mean, I'm sure there are people still sending paper claims, but they do. I'm sure they do, but people just don't prefer it. It takes longer. Anyway, so provider sends the claim to whom? To the insurance company. Insurance company receives it. What do? They receive the claim, right? The first thing they do is, when the system receives it, when they receive it, the first thing they do is they verify whether this claim is meant for us. Who's us? Blue Cross Blue Shield. Is this claim coming in? Is this meant for us? How will they verify? They will look for this information. Who's looking for this information, by the way? Health insurance company system. System is looking for this data. Why and how? First of all, they are trying to verify whether this claim is meant for us or Blue Cross Blue Shield or not. And the way the program has been written, the code, the way the developer has written the code is in such a way that it looks for NM109 position, the ID in the NM109. If that matches the database, that means yes, this claim is meant for Blue Cross Blue Shield of California. I'm sorry. Programmers write the code in such a way that look for NM1 segment where NM101 is 40. If it's 40, that means the NM109 value is going to be 54771. Oh, sorry, is going to be the ID. That ID, if that matches our ID, Blue Cross Blue Shield's ID, that means yes, the claim is meant for us. Just because a claim comes in, that doesn't mean the insurance company will pay for it. They won't. They will check it. It goes to the next step. Then it checks, it validates provider data. Is the claim coming from the right source? Who is sending this claim? Are they even allowed to send this claim? Do you think if anyone creates an EDI file and sends it to an insurance company, they will pay for it? No. You have to be on their approved list. So they will look for NM1 segment where NM101 is 41. In that case, NM109, whatever the value is, that's the ID of the sender. And if that matches our database, yes, that means he's from an approved list. If this value is 40, system picks up this value, verifies it. If this value is 41, system picks up this value and verifies it. St. Mary's Hospital. Yes, St. Mary's Hospital is on our approved list. So the first step is verification of the recipient data. Who's receiving this file? Then verification of the provider data. Who's the healthcare provider? Who's sending this file? If they both are verified, then they move on to the next step. They validate the reference data or the patient data. Who's the patient here? Cole Smith. This guy, Cole Smith, sorry. System will verify this Cole Smith, this ID number, who lives in this address, his date of birth is this. Is he an active member in our system? Does he have active coverage as of today? Yes or no? He does? Okay, great. System would also want to know, how did he get his coverage? Whose plan is he under? Karen Smith. Does Karen Smith exist in our system as a subscriber? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, only then the system will proceed. You need to understand one thing, guys, that look, let's say somebody has a baby. Okay, somebody has a baby. And that person has a full-time job with Coca-Cola. Okay, so the person is a full-time employee with Coca-Cola, gets insurance from Coca-Cola and everything. Okay, and this person has a baby then. So this person takes the baby to the hospital and gets a treatment done. Now the baby is very small. I mean, the baby is very young, right? The baby doesn't have an ID card. So they usually go by the parent's ID card, that, okay, so this is my insurance ID card and this is my kid. He's sick. I need to see the doctor. And they would allow it, right? Nothing unusual about it. 6-month-old or 1-year-olds don't carry their insurance ID cards with them. Okay. So they get the treatment. The claim comes in for the treatment from the hospital. If the parent did not enroll or did not add the dependent or the baby under his or her plan, insurance company is not going to pay the bill. The baby needs to be enrolled in the plan. We understand that the mother has a full-time job with Coca-Cola and she is an active covered member under Blue Cross Blue Shield's plan, and whenever she gets sick, yeah, we'll pay the bills. But what about the baby? You cannot automatically assume that the baby is also enrolled just because the baby is born. No, you have to enroll that person. So when this claim comes in, system will verify, who's this Cole Smith? Does he exist? Sure, he does. But under whose plan? Under his mother's plan. Does the mother exist in our system? Yes, it does. She does. Okay, great. Only then the system will proceed. It's like if I send a claim or a bill to you guys manually, you would receive it. You would want to know all these things. You won't let it go. You would check. That's how the system is programmed to check. The code has been written in such a way to check whether this patient is covered or not. If yes, under whose plan? Under his mother's plan. Okay, we see the link here. Mother is a subscriber, the son is a dependent, and yes, they both are enrolled, they both are actively covered under PPO plan or whatever. Does it make sense, guys? Are you with me so far? Validation of recipient data, validation of provider data, validation of the patient data. Validation of benefit provider administration or benefit rules. Why complicate stuff? Validation of benefits. When two people walk into a hospital, two different people, same hospital, get same treatment. Okay, person A, person B. They are not related to each other. They are just two different people, different backgrounds. They walk into a hospital, get the same treatment. Cost is the same. $1,000, $1,000. Do you think both of them will pay the same copay or deductible or same amount of money out of their pocket? No. Because everybody is enrolled in a different plan. Some people have $1,000 deductibles. Some people have $2,000 deductibles. Some people have $6,500 deductibles. I've seen plans as high as $6,850 deductible. Many plans have $0 deductibles. They just have to pay a $10 copay. Somebody walks into a hospital, gets a $30,000 treatment and just pays $100 out of pocket. Everything else is covered. So what kind of plan is he enrolled in? The patient enrolled in. How much money this patient will be paying out of pocket versus how much the insurance company will pay out of pocket. These are all the different benefits coded in the system. Patient benefits, the kind of benefits you're allowed. If you are enrolled in an HMO plan versus PPO plan versus whatever plan, your situation is going to be completely different. This treatment, whatever this treatment is, what treatment is this patient getting? These two treatments, the one in yellow, these are the ICD codes for the treatments. Is this person even eligible to get these treatments? If there are some, or this medication, if there's some really crazy expensive medication which the plan doesn't even cover, your health plan doesn't cover, will they pay for it? They won't. They say, you know what, we only cover generic drugs. This is a specialty drug. We don't cover this, sorry. Many Medicare plans don't cover a lot of drugs. So all these verifications are done. Are you with me so far, guys? Make sense? So all the member benefits or the patient benefits, the kind of benefits he's eligible for, all the verification is done here. If somebody has a really cheap plan, HMO plan, and goes to a really expensive hospital in Texas, insurance company is not going to pay for it. They say, no, you went to a doctor out of our network. We're not going to pay your bills. Just because you have insurance, that doesn't mean you can go to anyone you want. No, you go to this list or these list of doctors. Only these will be covered. All these are benefits, different benefit designs coded in the system. High deductible, low deductible, gold plan, silver plan. If you remember, we saw the other day on the Blue Cross Blue Shield Texas website, there were different plans. Gold, silver, platinum plans. Now, some of these, if you remember correctly, yesterday we discussed that some of these treatments or some of these medications require prior authorization number. This REF6R, this number is the prior authorization number. Okay, some of the very specialized treatments and specialized medication require special permission from the doctor. Okay, doctor has to insist and authorize that this particular medication or this particular treatment is mandatory for this person. Or the person may not survive, or the person, it can cause some critical problems for this person. This is mandatory. If the doctor insists, he has to issue a prior authorization, a PA number. So, if based on these treatments, based on the plan, this patient is enrolled in health plan, gold plan, silver plan, depending on what the plan he's enrolled in, these treatments, do they require a PA? Many treatments, many medications require a prior authorization. You want to know an example? Let's say somebody gets into an accident, a bad accident, and breaks his nose. Okay, breaks his nose, it's completely damaged, and doctors think that, you know what, it's a very complicated surgery. We'll conduct this surgery, and we'll also have to conduct some plastic surgery on this person because he completely destroyed his nose or face. So there's a lot very complicated surgery being done, including a plastic surgery. But plastic surgery, as most of us understand, is done for people or celebrities get it done. They want a better shape of their nose. They want a better structure of their face. They want to modify their eyes or lips or whatever. Cosmetic treatments are not covered by insurance. Plastic surgery is not covered by insurance because it's cosmetic. But if it's life-threatening, then it is covered. In those kind of situations, doctor has to authorize and mandate that, you know what, I know this is plastic surgery, but we have to do it. This person won't be able to breathe properly without a complete nose. It may be a very, may not be the most accurate example, but I think it is. I don't know. So if the treatment requires a prior authorization, system will look for that value, the prior authorization value, the PA number. If it exists, fine. If it does not exist, the claim will be denied or suspended, not denied maybe. So is a prior authorization required? Yes or no? If yes, they will validate the PA number, PA data. Validate from here, where? Here. They'll validate this number. If this number is good, fine, great. Let's go to the next step. If no, then it just goes to the next step anyways. Perform editing. Edits are performed. What does that mean? Looking at this EDI file, if you remember, these two ICD-10 codes in yellow are the treatments given to the patient, right? Let's unhighlight all this. Too many colors here. Whatever you see in yellow is the treatment. Sure. Whatever you see in, let's say, blue are the medical problems. These are the medical problems, these are the treatments. The equivalent ICD code, I mean. Now, guys, try to understand this. There are many treatments which can be given only to women. Many treatments related to pregnancy or some women problems, they can be given only to women. There are many treatments which can be given only to men. There are many treatments which can be given only to children. If the patient, this guy, Goldsmith, who's this guy? He's a male. He's a male, right? If a male is getting a treatment which is given only to women, how does that work? Just because the hospital is on the approved list, the payer details are correct, benefit rules are correct, patient details are correct, everything is correct, just because everything is correct, system will pay for it? No. If the treatment is meant only for women and the patient is a male, claim will be denied. Why? You know why? There are gender based edits coded in the system, that these are the treatments given only to males. These are the treatments which are given only to or rendered only to females. These are the treatments only given to children. So there are gender and age based edits coded in the system. Who codes these? Programmers, developers. There are rules. This treatment given to the patient, these two treatments, if they have any age or gender based restrictions, system will check for it. What is the restriction? It's an age based restriction. This treatment can be given only to adults over 18 years old. How old is this guy, the patient? He was born in 2016. He's barely 3 years old, 4 years. He's a kid. How can you give this treatment to a kid? System will deny it. So that's an age-based edit coded on this treatment. There is a gender-based edit coded on this treatment. Something which is meant for men cannot be given to women, and the other way around. So those edits are performed. If everything is good, goes to the next step. Goes to the next step. What happens then? Pricing is done. You know what system will do? System will take this treatment. Whose system, by the way? Insurance company system, Blue Cross Blue Shield. System will take this code, will take this price and verify in the system, in the database. Blue Cross Blue Shield of California has a contract, has a written and approved contract with St. Mary's Hospital, that for all these treatments, these are the prices you will charge us. They are exchanged on both ends. Both the parties know that for this treatment, this is the price, this treatment, that's the price. Treatment A will cost you $1,000, treatment B will cost you $200, treatment C will cost you $10,000. All these prices are approved and agreed and negotiated and loaded in both the systems. What both the systems? Payer and provider. Just because everything is good, that doesn't mean for this treatment you will charge $1 million. Do you think system will pay for it? No, system will take this price and compare it with the database. These reimbursement rates, these are called reimbursement rates, reimbursement tables rather. In the database, the reimbursement tables are updated every year. If prices go up, they have to be negotiated, they have to be approved, and they have to be loaded in the system. System will take this treatment in yellow, compare the price, look it up. If it looks good, fine. Another treatment in yellow, look it up. Price is good, fine. If this is something like this, system is not going to pay a dime. Just because system is processing the claim, that doesn't mean there are loopholes and you can mess with the system. No, it has been very carefully and very craftfully coded. Everything has been very well thought. There are no loopholes. Make sense, guys? With me so far? What do you think? You guys are very quiet. I know it's a Friday night. You have plans. Pricing is done. It refers to the reimbursement table in the system. Next step is the auditing. There are other minor checks here and there which system performs on the EDI file. For example, okay, number of segments is, it says 39. How many segments are there in this file? If they're more than 39 or not. If it's exactly 39, that's fine. If it's not 39, yeah, so this file will deny it or suspend. Some minor checks here and there. Some other rules are also coded. Nothing too relevant. What you really need to understand is the recipient, provider, reference, and benefits, prior authorization, editing, pricing, all these things. Now, after the auditing is complete, the next step is the claim disposition. Based on all the steps, all of these, verified whether this the sender of this claim is on our approved list or not. Is he in the network or not? Okay. Some specialized hospital may be in the network for Blue Cross Blue Shield. Okay, Stanford Hospital is in the network for Blue Cross Blue Shield. Yes, it is. But only for expensive PPO plans, not for HMO cheaper plans. So system needs to verify whether it is coming from the right provider or not, who's in the network or outside the network. Next step is the first step is the recipient data. Is this file meant for us, Blue Cross Blue Shield? Yes or no? Is the ID correct? Yes or no? All those things. Second step is the provider approved or not? Is St. Mary's Hospital in network or not? If it's out of network, you're not going to pay for it. If it's in network for this plan, sure, we will pay for it. Is it on the approved list? Yes, we will pay for it. Next step is the verification of the patient data. Is the patient exists or not? Active or not? Whose plan is he under? Under his mom. Is mom enrolled? Yes, she is. Then benefit verification. What kind of benefits he is enrolled in? High deductible, low deductible. Has he met his deductible or not? How much is his copay? How much he should be paying? Who's he? The patient. If prior authorization is required, yes or no? If it's yes, validate the prior authorization number from this REF segment. This segment. This is the PA number. And then gender and age-based edits. And then the pricing, the auditing. Based on all these decisions, system needs to be, the claim needs to be, have a final decision. If it's denied, it's just saved in the database. You need to remember one thing here. Every claim which comes into the system, Blue Cross Blue Shields or any system, it is saved no matter what. If it's denied 100 times, it will be saved 100 times. They keep track of each and every claim going back and forth between any organization. Every claim which is sent out, or any record which is sent out or received by an organization, there is a record always maintained. For liability purposes, for traceability purposes. People cannot come back and sue them and say, hey, you know what? I submitted the claim. You never paid me the money. Well, guess what? You have been sending the claim 10 times and each time there was something wrong with the claim and you never fixed it. Here is a record. So if it's denied, they just save it to the database. If it's paid and approved, they perform the final pricing. They add up all the numbers. If it matches this, the one in red, $4,531.40, sure, system will say, yep, we'll wire you this money minus $50 which patient paid on this date. Many times what happens is everything is fine, but this particular claim, this particular treatment requires a PA number and the PA number is not there. So claim usually doesn't get denied. It just gets suspended for a while. Okay, it just saves it to the gets suspended. It saves in the database. Hospital will receive the claim back and say, you know, it was suspended due to prior authorization being missing. So they will fix the claim, resend it. It's temporarily suspended. So based on all these steps, either it is denied outright, or it is approved and paid, or it is just temporarily suspended. Until you provide the real information or the correct information, we are suspending this claim, we are holding off on this claim, but we will pay you when you provide the right information. Regardless of the scenario, in all the three cases, claim is always saved in the database. Both the databases, provider and payer. When you are dealing with all these databases, you will be amazed the number of approved and denied claims you will have in the system. Even denied, even suspended, even rejected, everything is saved. And then, yep, money is wired. If it's approved, back to the provider. Does it make sense, guys? Make sense? Doesn't make sense? You cannot be so quiet. Ask me a question or something. We have time, so I will move on to the next topic. What do you think? So far, so good? Either all of it makes sense or none of it does. So you decide. There is a question in the chat box. Just give me a second. Sana has a question. She says, usually how many claims are received every day or processed day in one company? Whoa, that varies. Right? It depends. Size of the company. California Medicaid receives up to 1 million claims a day. If I'm not wrong, I think 500,000 at least claims a day. These Blue Cross Blue Shields and all, they have millions of members, so they receive tens of thousands of claims every day. Tens. Smaller companies receive thousands of claims a day. Very small companies receive few hundreds. So it can be anywhere between few hundred claims to hundreds of thousands of claims. It depends. It depends on the size. The Blue Shield I worked for, they had 2 million members. They covered 2 million people in New York. And I don't remember how many claims we used to receive back in the day. It's almost a decade. So, but yeah, I think it was few 10,000 a day. Definitely few thousands a day. Yeah. Depends on the size of the company. United Health Group is the biggest insurance company in the country. They have like 75 million members. As far as I remember, now they could be more. Okay, they're always growing. And they're always acquiring a lot of small companies too. So UHG, I believe, should be millions of claims every day. At least 500,000, 2 million claims a day. Definitely. It's too big. Make sense, guys? Are you with me so far? Okay. I hope that answers your question. Do you have any specific question before I move on to another topic? I'll be quick, but since we have time, why not um, squeeze in another
Dhruv,
small topic for today? Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I have a question here. So, what do we as a PA do in regards to this chart that we just talked about?
Well, first of all, you need to understand the life cycle of a claim anyways, because you'll be working on very big complex systems. So this is the high level view of how the claim processing works. Okay. Your job could be related to any of these areas. Okay. If any benefits need to be upgraded or changed, you should know what benefits are, member benefits. Okay. If benefits, so for example, let's say Blue Cross Blue Shield of California has PPO Gold 1500 plan. Next year, it will be changed from PPO Gold to 2000 plan. What does 1500 and 2000 mean? Oh, maybe deductible limits, maybe. So these changes have to be made in the system. So as a BA, you need to understand, or you need to know that a claim has to go through benefit checks, and there are benefits coded in the system. So these are the plans which have their benefits coded in the system, and that's how they will be upgraded or changed in the system. So as a BA, you need to understand the whole life cycle. Regardless of anything, it's an interview question. People will ask you this in an interview. So give them a high level steps. But even then, the job of a BA can be related to any modification or any change related to any of these areas we just discussed. Any of these areas. There will be so many reports. There will be so many. I'll give you some scenarios in future. I just cannot answer with generic words. I have to show you some scenarios that what you will be doing as a BA. So for now, what I'll just tell you is any kind of enhancements, any kind of upgrades, any kind of changes which need to be made in the system, you, the BA, will be responsible. That's number one. As a business analyst, you'll be doing a lot of reporting work, okay, generating reports for a lot of these areas, prioritization especially, benefits especially. Somebody wants to see and look at the data and wants to see how are we with the how many members are enrolled in a platinum plan. They want to know. Who's going to pull up the report? You, the BA. Okay. So reporting, enhancements, changes, modification, any kind of responsibilities which you might have. It all comes down to the BA. And as a BA, you need to understand how a claim goes through all these processes. Besides that, if any claim fails, claim goes through this process and fails, it will be your job to troubleshoot and find out why is this claim failing. I'll give you those scenarios too. So these are the different scenarios I want to discuss. Next week is going to be a lots of scenarios classes. Okay. So I'll tell you how reporting, what kind of reporting reporting responsibilities you will have, what kind of troubleshooting responsibilities, and I'll show you some real scenarios. If a claim fails for member not found, if a claim fails for provider out of network, how will you do the research? Your job will be to do the research and come up with an explanation. So how will you do the research? What are the steps involved, and how will you explain this a failure of a claim or rejection of a claim. Because if a claim gets denied, somebody needs to look into it. You will need to look into it. So you need to understand how the claim actually gets processed to begin with, before we can make a determination why this claim is failing. Does that make sense? I know I haven't told you all the scenarios, but
Yes.
I will.
And there was one more question. You just gave an example of, the baby when we are doing the enrollment thing. So I just have a question regarding that also. So
Right.
like when the baby is born immediately, sometimes, they are placed into NICU and all those stuff. So in that case, like, I mean, until they are born, I don't know if, we can enroll, uh, because I'm sure once they are born, then only you can enroll them into a plan or anything. So in that case, how does it work? Like, if the baby is born and if it has to be placed in the NICU, the baby wouldn't have any the ID number or anything of the
Yeah, so when the baby is born, in most of the cases, let's say the baby is born on 10th of this month, okay, and baby needs to go to the hospital in next 1 week, let's say, for any reason. Newborn babies have some complications or whatever. Usually, the plan will definitely cover that scenario, that they know, okay, the baby is just born and the parents are already covered. They will just give the treatment, and in the meantime the parents will be required to, and retroactively, remember this term, retroactively enroll this member, that we are giving the treatment now, but you have to make sure the health plan coverage is effective, not from today but from the date of birth of this baby, or usually the first of this month. Sometimes they do first of the month for the sake of simplicity. So even if the baby was born on 10th or 15th, so they will give the treatment and everything, but they will require the parents to enroll the baby with the insurance company retroactively. And insurance companies do allow that. That's fine. That's okay. The kind of scenario I was talking about was, if a baby is born, nobody knows about it. Insurance company doesn't know about it because he was never enrolled. And 6 months later, you go back and say, hey, you know what, the baby is sick. Well, guess what? Yeah, he's sick, but we're not going to pay his bills. You never enrolled this member. You should have told your employer that there's a new member in the family and he will be part of the plan. Your premium will go up a little bit more. Okay, your premium was $600 a month. Now it will be $800 because there's a new member in the family. So you have to enroll that member. Right after he's born, he gets sick and all. Those kind of scenarios are not that problematic. But you still have to enroll so that the hospital can send the bill to the insurance company. Even after he gets sick after a week, you need to retroactively enroll the member, the baby. Make sense?
yes. Thank you.
Yeah, remember this term retroactive. You will hear this term a lot. Let me write this in the chat box. Retroactive. Sana says, and if you're working as a BA, what exactly do the claims in the claim cycle? Do you have anything? Not at all. Yeah, I think Sana, I already answered this question. Troubleshooting, reporting, enhancements. Okay, let's leave it 3 of these. If the claim is failing for missing prior authorization, which a lot of claims do, people just get the treatment and the prior authorization is required and it's just not there, it's suspended, so somebody needs to look into it. You as a BA, how will you determine or how will you make the judgment that, you know what, the claim is denying for missing prior authorization if you don't even know what the life cycle is, and the prior authorization is a very critical component of a claim, and you open the claim and this thing is not even here? Well, there you go. The claim is failing for the right reason then. You come up with an explanation to the development team or the claims team that, you know what, this claim is failing for the right reason. It's perfect. Prior authorization number is not there. So it's suspended rightfully. Include this number and we'll talk. Now, I know I told you that I'll give you scenarios in next few classes, but let's at least discuss one scenario today: enhancements. Okay, so we are trying to shoot two targets with one stone today. We are talking about enhancements and your responsibility as a BA, and also how to write business and technical requirements. So it covers a number of things with only next 20-30 minutes of our discussion. So the idea is to give you some exposure on first of all, of course, how to write business and technical requirements. Okay, business requirements is the first step, technical requirements is the second step. And not just that, we also want to discuss that this EDI file, okay, I'm looking at it, what responsibilities can I have? Okay, I said enhancement. Now, what do I mean by enhancement? What does that mean? Let me remove these, hold on. What do you mean by enhancements of these files? Well, these files go through some changes as mandated by the government, okay, the federal government. So what happens is, this is the file, okay, EDI transaction. Now I'm giving you an example of a real-time project. HIPAA has been using, or the industry has been using this EDI transaction for a long time, and they were using a specific version. The version number was, back in the day it was, let me write this in the chat box, HIPAA 4010, HIPAA 4010, the version number. Just like iPhone 7 versus iPhone 8 versus iPhone 9, whatever. It's a version number, like ICD 9, right? Government came out and said, the federal government, of course, you need to upgrade, make changes to this file. Make changes, Sure. What changes? They will publish a new guide for this EDI transaction. And they did call it HIPAA 5010 version. This is the HIPAA 5010 version of this file, this transaction. Currently, everybody is using 4010. In future, after this date, 1st of January, everybody will use 5010. Now I'm going back in time, by the way. This is about 2012, 13, 14, somewhere around that. Okay. After that, there have been some changes too, but I didn't implement those changes. So, HIPAA 4010 was the version number used by the industry. Government came out with a new guide or new specification for HIPAA 5010. If you are working for a certain healthcare organization, it will affect you as an organization. You'll have to make updates. How will you make updates? First of all, your Office of Compliance will receive a notification from CMS that there's a new version of HIPAA 5010 EDI transactions. This is the new specification. They will look into it, they'll try to understand it. Then they will put together a team. What does that mean? That means they're planning. They're planning that they need to make changes in their system. It's an IT upgrade, IT enhancement. System, don't get me wrong, system already exists. System exists and it is working just fine. Claims are coming in, claims are being processed. Everything is working fine. But we need to make some more upgrades. Just like Netflix. Netflix is working just fine as of today. Tomorrow, they might come up with new content, new interface, new features, new functionalities. That's on them. That doesn't mean they scrap the whole system and build everything from scratch. No, they take the existing system and then make the upgrades. So your Office of Compliance and your IT project manager will get together and decide to make these enhancements. They will hire a BA. That will be you. And then they will tell you that, okay, so you need to understand, you are the BA. Right now we are using 4010. Okay, we want you to analyze the current system, analyze the current documentation, analyze the current specification, and see how 4010 is. And then here's the 5010 specification. Analyze what's the difference. Based on the difference, do the requirements. Now, what is this comparison called? HIPAA 4010 versus 5010. Gap analysis. There will be a separate class for gap analysis. I don't know if I'll conduct it or if I have the time, but at least I'll send you the recording. Gap analysis. It's simple. Current system, future system, as is and to be. What's 4010 look? How 4010 looks like, and how 5010 will look like in future. What's the gap? What's the difference? Not everything is changing. Few things are changing. Whatever gaps and whatever differences you identify, that is the requirement you will be working on. That is the source of your requirement. So based on the gap analysis, you do the requirements and then you do design, people do programming and testing and deployment. That's how the SDLC works. Now gap analysis is a simple process, and as I said, I will discuss that. You will get to know what gap analysis is. Don't get me wrong. But let's say gap analysis is done and now you're doing the requirements. There's Office of Compliance, then there's a claims team, some SMEs from the claims team. Okay, remember this term, SMEs. They will definitely be SMEs from claims team because they are the experts of EDI 837. You meet with them and then you work on the requirements. What are those requirements? So what I've done is I've done business and technical requirements, okay, for two different scenarios, and these are real life scenarios. Based on the gap analysis, what we have done, let's do the simple one first. It says, in EDI transactions, in all EDI transactions, especially 837, whenever there's a zip code reported, it will be a 9-digit zip code. This is the latest file, don't get me wrong. So that's why this is 9-digit. Back in the day, they used to send like this, 5-digit zip code. We all use 5-digit zip codes. Okay, I live in 92108. But actually, it's a 9-digit zip code. I don't even know the next 4 letters. I don't use it because nobody uses it. But actually, it's 9 digits. So government said, everybody using 5-digit, it's not accurate enough. Use 9 digits. So back in the day, they were used like this, and now government said you have to use all the 9 digits, just like this, all 9 digits. Is there any other address? Yeah, 9 digits. Oh, this one is missing. 9 digits. Wherever there is a zip code, instead of using 5 digits, we will use 9 digits. It's mandatory after this certain date. Else, your file will not be accepted. So how do you write requirements for this? Read this. Just this line. Forget all this. Read the row number 7. The incoming EDI 837 file, version 5010, shall contain 9-digit zip codes for all respective addresses. How simple is that? Read it again. The incoming EDI 837 file, version 5010 of course, shall contain 9-digit zip codes for all respective addresses. Simple, right? This is a business requirement. Business stakeholders understand this. That, whenever we are exchanging data, how do you think business people talk? Business people talk that, okay, what government really wants us to do is, guys, that whenever we are exchanging data with other entities, healthcare data, no more 5-digit zip codes. It has to be 9-digit going forward. Okay, so be careful. Make changes in the system and make sure we are exchanging 9-digit zip codes. Okay, let's do that. Sure. How will the business people verify this? Okay, you know what? I'll show you that in a second. So this is the business requirement. Your job as a business analyst is, once this requirement gets approved in an RTM, do you remember how an RTM looks like? Let me open that for a second. This is an RTM. Once the requirement, the business requirement is documented in this format and approved, your job is to translate this into a technical requirement. Technical requirement may or may not have the same format. It can be an RTM or it can be a much smaller format. Status, priority, yeah, sure. Format is not important at this point. What's really important at this point is how do you convert this into a technical requirement? Now read the row number 8. The program EDI 837 underscore CLM underscore CUST.sh. What is this? There is a program, a software written by developers, which processes this file, this whole file. Okay, which processes this file, which takes this file through all these steps. It's the name of a program. Are you supposed to know? No. Are you supposed to ask the developers? Yes. Will they tell you? Yes. So the program shall check for 9 numeric digits for all respective N403 segments. Read this line. Highlighted. This program, whatever program, I don't know the name, but I can ask the developers that, hey, what is the name of the program which processes all the claims? They say, yeah, this is the name of the program. So, okay, so this program will check for 9 numeric digits for all respective N403 segments. What is N403? So this is N4 segment, right? N401, N402, N403. N401, N402, N403. N401, N402, N403. For all N403 segments, I'm specifying the location of that data. I'm not saying N4 segment, N403, I'm being very specific. That's the reason I discussed the ins and outs of this file with you guys. Why did I do this? Because if you don't understand the structure of this file, how will you write the technical requirements? You cannot. And you need to. So how will you? Because you know the format, you are the BA. So the program, this shall check for 9 numeric digits for all respective N403 segments. For incomplete zip codes, the program will reject the claim with the error message. This is the error message. Read this whole requirement again. The program shall check for 9 numeric digits for all respective N403 segments. For incomplete zip codes, program will reject the claim. And this is the error message which will be displayed. This row number 7 was the business requirement. At the business level, anyone can understand. It's simple. It's simple. But you need to translate this into a technical requirement. You know what row number 7 is? Row number 7 is telling you what will or what needs to be developed. What will be developed? What? You know what row number 8 is telling you? How it will be developed. How? This is how. Row number 8 is actually telling the developer step by step that this is exactly what you need to write the code for. I'm telling you at the system level. You, the BA, are going at the system level and telling the developer that this is the change which you need to make in the system or in your program. You know, this program, this already exists. I know it exists. I know it's working fine. But you need to modify it. Modify what? Modify the logic. Logic for what? Logic for checking the zip codes. If it's not 9 digits, deny the claim. If it is 9 digits, sure, process. Does it make sense, guys? Are you with me so far? Yes or no? I can move on to another example. far so good? Let's discuss another example. Government said all the EDA transactions or all the claims just read the row number 2. All the claims, anesthesia claims, people get anesthesia for their treatments. Anesthesia claims will be reported in minutes. Anesthesia claims will be reported in minutes, because back in the day they were reported in units. 1 unit of anesthesia, 2 units of anesthesia, and 1 unit was equivalent to 15 minutes. Anesthesia, when they put somebody to in the unconscious stage before they conduct the medical surgery. So that is also built for, and anesthesia is a very expensive part of the treatment, and it is, it also needs to be paid for. An insurance company do pay for it, and it was billed in units. Government said, you know what, change it to minutes. So what you're doing is, you are telling the business requirement, the way you have written is, the incoming EDI 837 file, version 5010, shall report anesthesia claims in minutes. How simple is that? It's really simple. Even business stakeholders can understand this. That, you know what, guys, a business stakeholder is talking to you and say, hey, okay, the way I understand is that, and I had a very detailed meeting with the Office of Compliance, and based on our experience, what they're saying is that whenever we exchange data or whenever we exchange claims, whenever we bill our providers for anesthesia claims, it has to be, bill our payers, the anesthesia claim needs to be billed in minutes. If we give 12 minutes of anesthesia, we report 12 minutes. So make the change in the system. It's simple. This is the business requirement. This is the business need. Anyone can write it. Anyone can write it. What really is challenging is for you to figure out how to write the technical requirement. For this, you need to do some technical analysis with the developers. Read the row number 3. Very carefully, this is important. For SV101, :02. Let me repeat. For SV101, :2. What does that :2 mean? Second part of SV101. Okay. So let's open the claim. Where is that claim? Here is the claim. All of this is SV101, the highlighted part. We discussed that yesterday. It doesn't look like one though. Well, it is. The data is not separated by an asterisk. The data is separated by a colon. So all of this is SV101. Within SV101, there are different parts. First part is HC. Second part is J2941. Third part is UY. All these are some qualifiers or whatever, except for the second part. What does the second part say? For SV101, :2, if this is KL7645, if this is KL7645, what is KL7645? This is the ICD code for anesthesia. How would you know this? Maybe you'll have to write a SQL query. You'll have to ask an ICD coder, developer, somebody. You'll have to ask someone, or you can also find out yourself by writing a SQL query. And SQL is another topic which you and I will have to go through. KL7645. If this value, SV101, this is SV101, second part, if this is KL7645, that means it's an anesthesia claim. For SV101, :2, if this is the value, the program shall check if SV103 is MJ. If this is the value, KL7645, system will check if SV103 is MJ. This is SV101, SV102, SV103. If this is anesthesia, this needs to be MJ. Okay. If this condition is true, the program will retrieve data from SV104 and process as minutes for claim adjudication. Read all of this at least twice. Trust me, do it twice until here. What it is saying is that look for SV101 segment, second port. If it matches with this ICD code, that means this is an anesthesia claim. If this is an anesthesia claim, look for the qualifier in SV103. If this code matches KL7645, which it does, look for SV103. That needs to be MJ. If this is MJ, take SV104. That is 10. And use this number as minutes for claim processing of anesthesia claims. So developer will write the code and actually is coding in the system, the program, whenever you find any SV101 second part equivalent to this ICD code, that means this is an anesthesia claim. So for anesthesia, there are new rules. The rule is this value, SV103. This is SV102, the amount. The SV103 has to be MJ. MJ is a qualifier for minutes. If that is MJ, that means whatever number is here is the actual number of minutes. So use this number 10 for claim processing because this is minutes. Look up how much each minute of anesthesia costs, multiply by 10, and that is the price. This is not units anymore, this is minutes. So programmer is writing the code in such a way which will mandate the program to look for this ICD code. If it exists, that means it's anesthesia, and it is being the qualifier for this segment is MJ, and take SV104, that is the actual number of minutes, and use it for claim adjudication. But if it's not MJ, if it is false, deny the claim with this message. Read this requirement at least once or twice, guys. I really insist. Let me know if it makes sense, doesn't make sense. Be honest. Let me know. What do you think? Make sense, guys? So far, so good? Don't be so quiet. What do you think? These business requirements are being converted into technical requirements, respectively. That's how. This is the kind of language you will use to write technical requirements. Don't worry with the format. For technical requirements, format is really not important. You can put in an RTM. Just like business requirements are BR1, BR2, these are TR1, TR2. This is the actual requirement. Priority, sure. Status, sure. Make sense, guys? Can you correlate this verbiage to the actual this Word document? Can you do that? Make sense or doesn't make sense? Come on, guys, I know it's Friday night. You are tired. You want to go out. But I need confirmation from you if it makes sense. And you're okay with this.
Hey, Dhruv, I have a question here. For the anesthesia technical requirement, let's say, for example, we did not write it in the correct way, or whatever we wrote is not correct, how would we know whether it's correct, and whom would we have to check with?
Well, based on the discussions, during JAT sessions, everybody understands the business scope. Okay, they understand the business scope, and technical leadership will also be there. They understand the scope. Now, your job is to break it down into technical language. And when you break it down to the technical language, and when you present this technical requirement to the actual developer, it has to make sense to him. Because if it doesn't, he will refuse to write the code. He will refuse to write the code. He say, you know what, your requirement is not clear enough. Your requirement is not inaccurate. It doesn't even match with your business requirement. From documentation perspective, you need to be very accurate. Only then I can proceed and start writing the code. Whatever you're writing doesn't even make sense. So fix it first. But besides that, there will be a lot of peer review. BAs peer review each other's work, and the other people will peer review your work. Your manager will be involved. Their walkthroughs, their reviews. When you write requirements, they don't get approved. Okay, you have to conduct a walkthrough to begin with, to technical people and business people, and they have to agree with your verbiage. They have to agree with the content of the verbiage. They have to agree with everything. Until and unless you get a sign off on this requirement from everyone in the team, people will not proceed. But besides that, when you conduct a walkthrough just to the developer, if it doesn't make sense to him, he will not write the code. It has to be very clear, concise, understandable, traceable requirement. It has to be in alignment with the business scope. If it's not in the alignment, developer will point out that, you know what, I don't think you understand our system correctly. You need to fix the requirement. But that situation comes rarely, because when you are brainstorming with everyone and when you are giving a walkthrough of this requirement to everyone in the team, they will point out your mistakes right away. So there will be lots of walkthroughs. Documentation is not the only thing. You will be conducting lots of walkthroughs to a lot of people. SMEs, stakeholders, developers, business people, technical people. They are looking at your work, and you are looking for their feedback. That's what you want. And approval, of course. Make sense?
Yes, because the zip code thing is pretty simple, and when you write the technical requirement, also you understand that, okay, so these are the things that you need. But when it comes to anesthesia, there's a little complication. I mean, of course, there is bound to be that we might miss out something. So I'm sure that when we go in the real world, everything will not be like the zip code thing. We will have to deal with also the kind of anesthesia technical requirements.
Well, and you're right. Don't get me wrong. I mean, your point is valid. That how am I supposed to know that for this anesthesia minutes are reported in MJ and everything? This is part of the gap analysis. When they came out with this change, the government, when I say they, I mean the government, they did specify that anesthesia will be reported in minutes, and the qualifiers for minutes will be MJ, and only that needs to be used. This value will be MJ for anesthesia. So if this is the code for anesthesia, system will need to look for MJ. Why MJ? Why not MN? Why not MN? MN can be minutes. No, but you don't decide that. Who decides that? The government. The guide published by the government, that will say that the qualifier has to be MJ for anesthesia claims. And if it's MJ, whatever number you specify in this segment, this part of the segment, yeah, that is the minutes. Then use it. So all these things are specified. You have to clearly understand and document. And you're right. Situations you'll be dealing with will be a little bit complex. Not all the time, but many times, most of the times, sometimes, depends. Make sense?
Yes.
You know what? I'm going to stop at this point. there's a very little part of the topic left, but we'll continue on Monday. That's okay. I don't want to confuse you too much. We already did claim processing and now these requirements and everything. So all I want to tell you is that these are the kind of enhancements which you as a business analyst will be involved in, and these are the kind of responsibilities you will be performing while you're working as a BA. Okay, when EDI transactions or any kind of system gets upgraded from A to B, you need to understand what does A mean. A is the current state. Okay, how is it structured? You need to read documentation. You need to understand how it is currently structured. Now, what does B mean? Well, that's the future state. How do they want us to structure this in future? So A versus B. What's the difference? What's the difference? Okay, whatever is the difference is the nature of your scope. If Apple, as of today, I don't know the latest version of iPhone, I would be the last person to know any of that stuff, but let's assume the latest version of iPhone is iPhone 8. Okay, the leadership at Apple says, you know what, we need to come up with a new iPhone 9. Well, what's the difference? First of all, camera is better. Okay, what else? It's faster. Faster like how and why? Oh, well, it's a new processor. What are the gaps? The gaps are the actual source of your requirements. These gaps are something you need to build. Well, by the way, that Apple is not a very good example. I think Netflix was a better example, because at Apple they still build everything from scratch. But anyways, you get my point, I hope. Whatever is the gap between A and B is the source of your requirements. And those requirements need to be very clearly documented. And you can only document those things when you actually understand how A and B are structured or need to be structured, A versus B. You clearly understand both of them, understand the gap, identify the gap. Based on those gaps, you write the requirements in this language. And if everybody is in agreement with you, then your job is to explain these requirements to the developer. Because programmers don't care what the government wants. It's not that they don't care, I'm sorry, but they just don't get notified. They don't know any about that stuff. It's not their job. Their job is to write code in Java or .NET or C++ or Python. Somebody needs to tell them. Who will tell them? You, the BA. By writing stuff like this. And conducting a walkthrough and telling them, okay, so this is what needs to be done. Understand this, and if you are in agreement with my language and my verbiage, can you write the code for this? He says, yes, I can. Sure, then do it. Once the code is done, you let me know the change has been made and I will test it. How to test it? I'll show you all those things. Let's not do it today. All right, questions, comments. What do you think, guys? Make sense? Doesn't make sense? Too complicated? You need to spend some more time with this. This class is being recorded, by the way, so I'll put it on YouTube as soon as I can. I have a ton of things to take care of during the weekend, but this will be on my list. That's for sure. And yeah, review these recordings and both the topics. They're very, very important from a BA perspective, interview perspective, and there are some more things I need to discuss, non-functional requirements and all that, but don't worry, we can discuss it later. Come on, guys, questions, comments, thoughts. Too easy, too complicated, doable, not doable, confusing, too early to say anything. What do you think, guys? You gotta say something. All right, so as I said, I will be sharing the recording and this both of these Word documents. Okay. Sonia says, just one question, how we know that MJ is associated with SU103? I missed some part. Oh, well, yeah. So when government publishes the specification for HIPAA 5010, okay, 4010, you already have it. When they publish the guide for 5010, they say for SE103, all the claims, if it's anesthesia claim, this needs to be MJ. Okay. They will specify for each and every segment. Gap analysis is done based on the segment. That's a good question, by the way. So even if you're late to that, it doesn't matter. So government is telling you, or the CMS is telling you, or HIPAA is telling you, for SV101 segment, the second part, for the specific anesthesia claims, make sure this is MJ and reported only in minutes. Rest you figure out. Well, yeah, then that's easy. If the ICD code matches this, they will not tell you the ICD code. They'll just say anesthesia in any of these claims will be in minutes. So, of course, ICD code is this. By the way, I just made it up, by the way. Okay, KL7645 may not be the code for anesthesia. But that's not relevant. We really don't care what's the code for anesthesia. So, as long as the code is this needs to be MJ. I'll send you a sample gap analysis document. That will make sense. Although, you know what I would want to add is, let's say somebody comes to you and doesn't even tell you that if it's SV1 segment. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You, from your experience, should know that claims are always reported in SV101 segment. You know that. Based on the link I sent you, you can open it and find out what segment does actually contain the procedure codes. Which segment contains the procedure codes? SV1. I don't care what government is telling me. You know what? At this point, just forget it. Let's use our experience and our knowledge. What do you think? My manager comes to me and tells me, you know what? Going forward, anesthesia in minutes, period. That's it. Do it. Which loop or which segment does contain the claims? Find out. Patient, claim, where? Where are the claims? LX. Okay. LX is just the line number. SV1. Let's click on SV1. It says SV101 is hard coded to HC. Okay. SV101 second part is the service ID, the professional service product or service ID. The ID code for procedure code, the service provided, the medical service provided or the treatment rendered to the patient is the code. What is that? The ICD code. So if the ICD code for anesthesia is found in this segment, make sure it is reported in minutes. And for being reported in minutes, the qualifier needs to be MJ. Even if nobody tells me how segment by segment, I can still determine this because I have this link, you know. Using this link will simplify a lot of things for you. Make sense, guys? Does it answer question, Sonia? Sorry. Vandana says, will you discuss and guide more how to write business and technical requirements? Well, I can send you some more examples, but I don't think I'm going to have another class. But having said that, if you understand this, you can understand anything. I can send you some more examples. But you know, the thing is, if I send you some more examples, they won't make sense to you. They are related to very specific projects for which you don't have a background. Unless you have a background, it won't make sense to you. but I can still send some simple examples. You need to understand one thing very carefully, and I know for sure at least some of you think this, that writing technical requirements can be hard. Well, of course it's hard. You know why it's hard? Because you don't understand the system yet. You don't understand the background of that technology or that platform yet. If you know EDI very well, writing technical requirements is not hard. It's still written in English, but you are being very specific. You are going to the core level. Yeah, okay, you know what? I can do some more business and technical requirements for HIPAA 5010 project. I can do that. I can send it to you. Sure. The verbiage is not the problem. I mean, right? It's simple business English, but you are going at the level of each and every segment. That means something. Make sense? When I say that's true, I felt it's hard. Well, it's only hard because you don't know it yet. I'll be honest. You know, if you don't know something, of course it's hard. I cannot cook, okay, and I think cooking is really hard because I don't know it yet. If I learn it, then it won't be hard. That's what it is, because you don't know it. Every system, the way it is structured, the way it is set up for each organization is different. And when you join an organization and you learn different things about their system, yeah, then it's not hard at all. These EDI transactions are pretty standard all across the industry, so they're not going to change. EDI transaction is EDI. Everybody's using the same EDI industry-wide. But other parts of the system and everything is very proprietary. Sana says how and where these changes are implemented in claim processing system. Well, this is part of the claim. This change is being done on a claim. And this claim goes through this life cycle. So whatever program takes this claim through this life cycle has to be modified. And it will be modified by the developer based on the changes you tell him. So claim processing system already exists, but that system or that program needs modification, upgrades, downgrades, enhancements, modifications, any word you can use. Just like Netflix system, the system already exists, but based on the changes proposed, developers will make the changes to the existing system and modify, add, delete, renew, update the system. Right now we are just upgrading the file, and whatever part of this life cycle looks for that system or looks for that part of the file, that needs to be modified. Maybe that will answer your question. Make sense? Yeah, that was a good question too. Alrighty, so this is the, as I said, these are the two Word documents I'll be sending you. Not this Word document, rather this Word and this spreadsheet I'll send you. And what else do you need? RTM you already have. This you already have. This EDI file. So this I don't need to send you. So these are the two documents I'll send you along with the recording. And go through the recording, understand this. And besides that, I will be sending you some more topics already on YouTube. Okay, I expect you to review all that stuff on your own. Guys, I already have 5 or 6 more classes left. I have to squeeze everything in. Okay, and I'm telling you, by end of next week, my marketing team will start calling me and say, hey, where are the resumes and what's going on and this and that. So there are some minor topics which are simple, you can do on your own. So just review it on your own. I really don't have the luxury of conducting 25 sessions. And to be honest, I prefer that way. But sometimes the way market demands are a little different. Okay. And I don't blame them. If the market is really good and people are asking for more resumes, so why not get to the market as fast as possible? I can always conduct 1 or 2 sessions when you're in the market already. Some leftovers or maybe some touch-based topics, interview prep and all that. That will keep going on anyways. My partner Raj is conducting lots of interview prep sessions these days for people who are already in the market and taking interviews. So that's an ongoing process. But as far as the topics are concerned, some of the topics just review on your own during this weekend. I'll send out an email tomorrow morning. I have a ton of things to take care of, but I'll definitely squeeze in some time and we'll take it from there. Okay? All right, guys. If there's nothing
I want to
else.
ask something.
Oh, yes.
I'll take your 1 2 minute more. So I'm not sure it's a relevant question or not. Like we are discussing about HMO, PPO, and claim process.
Mhm.
So we are talking about private insurance companies like BCPS.
Mhm.
So it will be same thing for government companies. Government plans like Medicare, Medicaid. It will be same thing for even that things.
Well, so here's the thing. Government plans work a little differently, For Medicare plans, for example, um, the one for old people, and Medicare, for retirees. That's what I mean. Those are the plans where the government says that we'll pay your bills. The federal government will pay old people's or the retirees' medical bills, but we'll pay only 80% of your bill, 70% of your bill, depending on state you live in, depending on how many years you have contributed to FICA system and all that, depending on how much taxes you have paid, and depending on so many other reasons, and depending on your income too. Rich people have to pay more out of pocket, rich retirees, okay, compared to someone who is not that wealthy. So based on number of factors, yeah, go ahead.
So still they are using, they have to choose HMO or PPO as per their choice.
Well, yes, there's not HMO PPO. The Medicare plans have their own networks. Okay, they have their own networks. That this is the Medicare network,
Okay.
or this is not a med. So here's the thing. I'll simplify this answer for you. When you go to a doctor, that particular doctor, may or may not accept Medicare and Medicaid patients. Many high-end doctors or doctors who are very busy, they outright refuse to accept any Medicaid or Medicare patients. Because I'll tell you why. Medicare and Medicaid patients, for those kind of treatments, they get lower amount of money as doctors' fees and everything and treatments. Government pays a little lower than health insurance companies. Okay, so many doctors don't even accept Medicare and Medicaid patients. So those doctors are out of their network. Many doctors are in Medicare and Medicaid network. Many doctors are not, based on they know they're going to get a lower money. Make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Some doctors are really successful, really busy, and they have so many patients. It's hard to manage their schedule. They just say, you know what? Why do I need to chase Medicare and Medicaid patients? Compared to the new doctors who are in the market new, they say, you know what? I need patients. I need people. I need to make money. So I might as well accept anyone. They accept Medicare and Medicaid all the time. So they are in network. They go to the government, fill out the form and say, hey, you know what? I want to be an approved provider to Medicaid patients in the state. I will take poor people and then I will give them the treatment and then government will pay me. Even though it's lower amount, I understand, but okay, I'll take it. That's how it works. It's all about being.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Anything else, guys? Okay. I'll take your silence as a no. Have a great and a safe weekend. Review as much as you can. And I will speak with you on Monday. Look forward to my email I might send maybe 1 or 2 emails, and yeah, just go through those recordings and topics and everything. All right, guys. Have a good night. Take care, and I will speak with you on Monday. Thank you.